Rain drifted across the highway in thin silver lines, tapping the metal roof of the roadside diner like a steady heartbeat. Inside, 3 Hell's Angels settled into a worn corner booth, leather vests creaking softly as they laughed about old rides and harder days. Cole, Ironhand Walker, their quiet leader, watched the door the way a man watches storms forming on a horizon. Nothing looked wrong, but he felt something humming in the air, a tension too light to name. If you think you know where this calm evening is headed, wait, because nights like this have a way of turning sharp without warning, and even the toughest men can sense when the world is about to shift beneath boots. Rain blew in with her as the door swung open, and a small, soaked girl stumbled inside, hugging a cracked backpack to her chest like it was the last safe thing she owned. Her breath came in shivers, eyes wide, darting to the windows as though something terrible waited just beyond the glass. She whispered through trembling lips, "He followed me. Please, he followed me here." The diner, moments ago filled with warm laughter, fell silent. Cole straightened, the other bikers exchanging stunned looks, their rough faces shifting from ease to hard concern. Vulnerability like hers didn't walk into places like this by accident, and in the way she kept scanning the shadows, they felt danger enter with her tonight. Cole rose slowly, letting the girl see every movement before he made it, and then he knelt, so his eyes met hers instead of towering above her fear. His voice softened in a way few ever heard. "You're safe. No one's touching you while we're breathing, sweetheart." She swallowed hard, unsure whether to believe a man built like a brick wall. "What's your name?" he asked. "Mia," she whispered, clutching her backpack tighter. Something in her voice cracked him open. Outside, a dark sedan idled beneath the rain, headlights low, engine humming like a warning. Cole felt the shift inside himself, that familiar protective spark flaring into something sharper. He didn't know what Mia was running from, but he knew trouble when it circled a child. Mia's voice shook, as if each word had to fight its way out. She said the man outside wasn't her dad, not even close, just someone who takes pictures and gets angry when I hide. She kept her gaze fixed on the table, fingers twisting the soaked strap of her backpack, as though saying more might summon him through the walls. Cole waited, patient, giving her space, but the rest stayed locked behind her trembling silence. Trauma had built too many doors inside her for any child to open quickly. Across the booth, the bikers exchanged a single look. Tight jaws, narrowed eyes, a shared understanding that this was far worse than a runaway story. And through the window, they glimpsed the silhouette of a clean-cut man, the kind who looked respectable enough that people never questioned the darkness under his smile. Ryder and Tank pushed through the diner door, stepping into the cool rain with the quiet purpose of men who'd handled trouble before. They walked past the idling sedan, memorizing the plate, noting the heavy tint on the windows that didn't belong on a family car. The driver stepped out as if he'd been waiting, offering a practiced smile that didn't meet his eyes. "Sorry, gentlemen," he said lightly. "The girl's confused. She runs off sometimes. I'm just here to bring her home." Ryder felt every word land wrong. Tank's instincts hissed a warning, the kind that never lied. Something oily clung to the man's charm, and when the bikers glanced inside the car, what they discovered next shocked everyone, setting the night on a path none of them expected. The stranger stepped closer, flipping open a neat folder of papers that looked official at first glance but felt too polished, too ready. Like props from a script he'd rehearsed 100 times. His voice carried an easy friendliness, yet his eyes burned with a quiet, simmering rage he couldn't hide. "Mia's dramatic," he explained with a patient chuckle. "She makes trouble when she doesn't get her way." Cole stood in the doorway, studying every twitch, the man's fingers tapping his thigh, the pulse in his jaw tightening whenever Mia's name came up. Then the stranger shifted tactics, lowering his voice. "Look, I work with the county. I have authority here." He expected intimidation to land. Instead, Cole felt his suspicion harden into something colder. Back inside, Mia sat at the edge of the booth, trying to shrink into the corner as if she could make herself disappear. When she reached for her backpack, her sleeve slipped just enough for Cole to see the bruises, dark, finger-shaped marks wrapped around her thin arm like someone had claimed ownership. She jerked her sleeve down fast, but the damage was already carved into Cole's mind. When Tank stepped closer to hand her a napkin, Mia flinched so violently it hurt to watch. She whispered, barely audible, "He said nobody believes kids, nobody." Something inside Cole cracked open, not with anger at first, but with a grief so deep it steadied him. There was no confusion now, no possibility of misunderstanding. This wasn't a runaway story or a messy custody issue. This was a predator, hunting a child, and he had followed her here. Cole didn't raise his voice or make a scene. He simply gave two subtle nods, signals his brothers understood like second nature. Phones buzzed within seconds, quiet messages sent to men who didn't ask why, only where. Outside, the low thunder of arriving engines rolled through the rain as more patched riders pulled in, forming a wall of chrome and loyalty around the diner. Inside, the mood shifted. Calm conversation replaced by organized purpose, every man taking a role without needing instructions. Mia watched them with wide eyes, realizing she'd somehow stepped into a family built stronger than fear. Ryder was already on the phone with a sheriff they trusted, while Tank documented plates and gathered evidence. The diner, once ordinary, felt like a fortress now. And Mia sat at its center, finally sheltered by hearts as heavy as their vests. The door slammed open so hard the bell nearly snapped off, and the man stormed inside with the confidence of someone who had gotten his way his entire life. His eyes locked on Mia, wild and furious, and he pointed at her like she was property. Cole rose before she could even gasp, stepping into the narrow path between them, a silent wall of muscle and resolve. "Move aside!" the man barked, voice cracking with entitlement. Cole didn't flinch. "Son, you can't move what's made of iron." The man tried anyway, shoving forward with a burst of desperate strength, but Cole didn't shift an inch. Chairs scraped as the Brotherhood surrounded him, calm and controlled, faces carved from stone. The predator's confidence drained fast. Moments later, the sheriff walked in, cuffs ready, and as they searched the man's car outside, the truth spilled out, proof of crimes far darker than anyone expected. Mia sat wrapped in a soft blanket, a warm plate of diner food steaming in front of her. The kind of simple comfort she hadn't felt in far too long. Her breathing, once frantic and shallow, settled into something steady, almost peaceful as the chaos outside faded into distant sirens. Cole took the seat across from her, his heavy presence strangely gentle now. "This world's got monsters," he said quietly. "But it's got men who fight 'em too, remember that." The words seemed to land somewhere deep inside her, loosening the fear she'd held tight. Slowly, cautiously, Mia let a small smile appear, the first honest one of the night. And for the first time, she believed she was truly safe. When the child services worker arrived, Mia stood slowly, clutching something in her small hand. Before following the woman to the door, she walked back to Cole and held out a folded piece of paper, her fingers trembling but sure. Cole opened it carefully, expecting a note, but instead found a crayon drawing, rough lines, bright colors, a giant biker with wide angel wings standing protectively over a little girl with a backpack. Above them, in uneven handwriting, she'd written, "Thank you for believing me." Cole felt a tight ache rise in his chest, the kind he rarely let anyone see. He cleared his throat, hiding the sting in his eyes behind his beard as Mia gave him one last brave, grateful look. Cole stood outside as the police car pulled away, its red and blue lights fading into the wet night. Behind him, the rumble of Harley engines settled into a low, steady chorus, the Brotherhood waiting in silent understanding. He watched the road long after the car disappeared, rain misting off his vest, thoughts heavy but steady. Most folks misunderstand bikers, he reflected, but if people saw what really happens on nights like this, they'd never judge leather again. And if you think this story is wild, wait till you hear what happened next week.